इसमें अब कुछ आवाज नहीं
आ जाएगा गुड चलो
It's not connected.
हम चल कनेक्ट
Hello? I can't hear anything. Can I be heard? There was a disturbance in the video. Can I be heard?
बोलिए मैडम
Can I be heard?
हाँ बोलिए
Okay, so I was telling you that in the biosphere reserves at present there are 714 biosphere reserves in the world in 129 countries. इसमें से हमने इनको डिवाइड कर दिया है in 5 geopolitical areas. जो 5 geopolitical areas हैं उसमें से in Africa there are 85 sites with 31 countries. I repeat, 85 sites in 31 countries of Africa. Then there are the Arab states जहाँ पे कि 33 sites हैं 12 countries पे. फिर एशिया एंड पैसिफिक यहाँ पे 154 साइट्स हैं in 24 countries. उसके बाद 302 sites in 38 countries of Europe and North America. 130 sites in 21 countries of Latin America and the Caribbean. So 714 sites in 129 countries in 5 geopolitical areas. आपको सब नंबर याद करने की जरूरत थी. मैंने आपको एक डिवाइड इसलिए दिया so that you have a fair idea कि कॉन्टिनेंट्स के बीच में बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व्स कैसे डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड है. For you, what is more important is the whole number, the area of 6,812,000 square kilometers, which is almost the size of Australia, and the fact that it is taking care of 257 million people all over the world. Was a result or a culmination after a conference which was held by UNESCO in Paris, where it was decided that the people should now be the focus of attention if the goal of sustainable development was to be achieved by 2030, with a shift in focus of attention from the areas of flora and fauna to the human being who is interacting with the environment, came up the program of Man and the Biosphere. ये Man Biosphere program actually implement हुआ 1970 में, although most of the areas keep on repeating 1971, but it started in 1970, and the first biosphere site which came up, or the first biosphere reserve which came up, was in 1979. इसके लिए इन्होंने क्या किया कि एक इंटरनेशनल कंजर्वेशन कमिटी बनाई हुई है. दिस आई थिंक वी विल टेक इट अ लिटिल लेटर ऑन हु कॉन्स्टिट्यूट्स द कमिटी. लेट अस फर्स्ट कम टू द functions of the biosphere reserve. So all over the literature, whether and I want to tell you this, that biosphere reserves all over the world have the same pattern. तो जो इंडिया में है वही साउथ अफ्रीका है, वही आपका पैसिफिक में भी मिलेगा, वही आपको नॉर्थ कनाडा में भी मिलेगा. सो ऑल द बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व्स हैव अ फिक्स्ड 3 सेट ऑफ फंक्शंस. फर्स्ट इज कंजर्वेशन, सेकंड इज डेवलपमेंट एंड थर्ड इज लॉजिस्टिक्स. अब ये कंजर्व कैसे करता है? ये जीन्स को कंजर्व करता है, प्लांट्स, एनिमल्स और पूरे इंटायर इकोसिस्टम को कंजर्व करता है. जो इसका कोर एरिया है दैट इज कंप्लीटली फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ कंजर्वेशन. Conservation के साथ साथ the second part of a biosphere reserve is to promote development. It promotes sustainable development, both human, socio-cultural and economic development of the people. The third is logistics. It provides a logistic support for further growth or enhancement of human settlements in and around the biosphere reserve through research, through training and through management program. ये 3 functions core areas के लिए है, meaning this is what constitutes the function of a biosphere reserve. Now, how does a biosphere reserve function? In a biosphere reserve, there is a core area. Then there is a buffer zone. And then there is a transition zone. So all functions of a biosphere reserve are achieved through zoning. They are achieved through zoning. अब जोनिंग कैसे होती है? जोनिंग जब आप कोर एरिया में रहते हैं, ये कोर एरिया है आपका, तो जो आपका कोर एरिया होता है, which is your critical protection of habitat, which is your critical protection of habitat, this core area constitutes the heart of the biosphere reserve. From now on, we'll call it BR. The core area of the biosphere reserve is the heart of the BR, and here you have what is called the critical protected area or critical protected habitat. IUCN के हिसाब से ये कैटेगरी 1 में आता है, कैटेगरी 1 ऑफ एंडेंजर्ड स्पीशीज, ये और उस एरिया की लिस्ट में आता है. So your category 1 is your core area. What is the function of your core area? When I started off with conservation in the first class, I told you that the function of conservation in biodiversity is protection and preservation. So the core area is protecting your flora, fauna and the ecosystem of a biosphere reserve. Now then, core area not only does this, it also constitutes certain ecosystem services. अब ये ecosystem services कौन कौन सी है? It acts as a carbon sink or it absorbs the carbon from the atmosphere. It helps to recharge all aquifers because most of the core areas have fresh water supply, as the rivers flowing through these areas occupy huge areas and are important or crucial areas of watershed. So they help us to recharge the groundwater, then they help to purify the air. So these are ecosystem essential services which the core area discharges, other than the fact that it helps to preserve the biodiversity of the biosphere reserve. I repeat, it preserves the biodiversity of the biosphere reserve. We can then come to the second part, which is this is your core, then this becomes your buffer area. जब मैं आपको दूसरे सारे इनके बारे में बताऊंगी एक एक लेकर के, when I am talking about the biosphere reserves in India, you will always realize that the core is a very small area and the buffer zone becomes the biggest area. And outside this buffer zone, then you have the transition zone. अब buffer zone के functions क्या क्या होते हैं? Buffer zone is your main zone which acts as a connecting area between the core and the transition zone. Core में आपकी सारी low impact activities take place here. Whereas in the buffer zone, you have things like ecotourism, you have recreation, you have research and educational programs. I repeat कि जितने biosphere reserves all over the world हैं, they follow the same pattern of zoning. Everywhere you will read the same pattern of zoning. Whether it is a biosphere reserve in Egypt, and there is a biosphere reserve in Egypt, or whether it's a biosphere reserve in India, it has the same pattern. तो आपका जो कोर एरिया है वो प्रिजर्वेशन ऑफ बायोडाइवर्सिटी करता है, इकोसिस्टम की इसेंशियल सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करता है, मतलब एटमॉस्फेयर को क्लीन करता है, क्लीन वाटर प्रोवाइड करता है, सॉइल कंजर्वेशन करता है और कार्बन सिंक की तरह एक्ट करता है. इट एब्जॉर्ब्स ऑल द कार्बन व्हाइल रिलीजिंग ऑक्सीजन टू द atmosphere because of the thick vegetation and the preservation of the ecosystem as it is. Then we come to the buffer zone. अब buffer zone में आपका human intervention या interaction start हो जाता है. तो buffer zone आपका ये low impact area है आपका core, और आपका जो buffer zone है वो थोड़ा सा high impact area होता है, और यहाँ पे आप eco tourism करते हैं, recreation facilities create करते हैं, or for example you have educational facility programs, and some research areas can be undertaken in the buffer zone. The buffer zone's most important function is that it acts as a connecting spatial area between the core and the transition zone. Then in the final, so we are saying that the buffer area supports anthropogenic activities and helps us in the growth of social cultural values of the biosphere reserve. The third area is the transition zone. अब आपका जो transition zone है ये complete human settlement का area है. और ये human settlement इस जो core और buffer areas हैं उस पे if not entirely then in parts is dependent on it. So the whole concept of a biosphere reserve is to see how the human settlement interacts with the buffer and the core areas so that we can achieve the goal of sustainable development. The entire exercise, if you see that the core area, आपका core area हर समय कोई national park होता है, कोई wildlife sanctuary होती है, और आपका फिर एक buffer zone होता है जो उस wildlife sanctuary या national park का buffer zone होता है, और फिर आपका transition zone होता है जो settlement area को cover करता है. So when we talk of biosphere reserves, we are talking of conservation in realistic terms, in practical terms. पहले क्या था कि हम एक species को देख रहे थे devoid of its human environment, which is the major focus of any conservation program, because without the participation of people, no conservation can take place. But it was as late as 1968 and the establishment of Man and Biosphere program by the UNESCO that the human part became viable or became the most important part for the preservation or conservation of an ecosystem. So first we have done what is a biosphere reserve. We've gone into the functions of the biosphere reserve. Functions are conservation, development. Development has to be sustainable. Then logistics, so conservation, development, logistics, and then we are achieving these functions through a zoning program. And zoning program में आपका core zone है जिसमें आप सारी वो category include करते हैं जो category 1 में आती है IUCN के. Then your buffer zone consists of category 4 और 5, और जो आपका transition zone है वो category 5 include करता है और category 6, and this is the major differentiation between a national park, a wildlife sanctuary and a biosphere reserve. अगर आप इनके differences को पढ़ना चाहेंगे तो आप यही कहेंगे कि तीनों के बीच में जो फर्क है वो इनकी लिस्टिंग में है, because national park includes category 1, wildlife sanctuary includes category 4, and your biosphere reserves include category 5 or category 6 of the IUCN. Then for a national park, a notification from the concerned government has to be issued, means it is a legislation which results in the creation of a national park. A wildlife sanctuary can be a notification of the government, or it can be a private body also. For anything to be under the biosphere program or for the biosphere reserves कैसे होते हैं? इसमें the central government proposes a biosphere reserve based on the assessment of the state, और इसके करने पर ऐसे notification निकाल देने पर then the central government through the committees, there is a national committee for biosphere reserves at the center, and through its national committee it approaches the UNESCO for enlisting it in the man and biosphere program. If UNESCO feels it's a fit case for MAB, it is included in the site for MAB. Otherwise, it continues to be a biosphere reserve for that particular country. Having said all this, now we come to focus on the biosphere reserves which are there in India. In India, like I just said, there are 18 biosphere reserves, with the Rann of Kutch being the biggest, where you have the wild ass sanctuary. आपने देखा होगा कि जो क्वेश्चन पेपर है उनमें क्या क्या आया है. पहले तो कई जगह ये आया है कि what is a biosphere reserve and how is it conserved. Then there are questions on particular sanctuaries, like for example Project Tiger, and should we have ecotourism in areas of Project Tiger. Then there are questions on the wild ass sanctuary which is in the Rann of Kutch. There is a question on vultures in India. So endangered species में से Indian bastard. All these have also come in your question paper, which are a part of conservation. But if we keep on dealing with all the conservations, it is almost going to take a month before we finish it. And a lot of area of conservation is going to be a part of your vegetation study in geography. So I will see कि आप geography में इसको कहाँ तक पढ़ते हैं. Otherwise then we will have to take each ecosystem of our country and try and see how much of conservation is being done in that area. इतने डिटेल में कभी क्वेश्चन नहीं आता. Always the questions have focused on wetlands, focused so far as conservation is concerned, focused on wetlands, focused on biodiversity per se. What is biodiversity and how do we conserve it? And when we're talking of biodiversity and conservation, all these are going to be a part of it. Your protection of core areas, your national parks, your wildlife sanctuaries, your biosphere reserves. And plain question, what is a biosphere reserve, has also come twice. This is just to make you understand the focus of attention that you have to keep as you keep going from one area to the other. Now, what is it that makes UNESCO undertake the program of man and biosphere reserves? The first and foremost thing which they want to do is that they want to promote a a peaceful integration of man and nature. UNESCO का focus is on peaceful integration of man and nature for the purpose of sustainable development. मैं इसको शॉर्ट में लिख रही हूँ, नहीं तो जगह नहीं मिलेगी. For the purpose of sustainable development through participatory dialogue. जब भी आप मैन एंड बायोस्फीयर प्रोग्राम के बारे में बात करेंगे, आप बोलेंगे इस बात को, यू विल राइट that UNESCO is trying to promote a peaceful integration of man and nature for sustainable development through a participative dialogue with the local community. So everything which is now being done is by the local person, and along with it, it wants to focus on poverty reduction. One is that. Two, maintenance of social and cultural values. Maintenance of social and cultural values. अब जो ये bird as a result of all these sites, for Biosphere Reserve, we have what is called the WNBR. What is the WNBR? The WNBR is your World Network of Biosphere Reserves. So what happens in the WNBR? WNBR में ऐसा होता है कि जो भी कोई साइट एक्सेप्ट करती है यूनेस्को to become a part of its man and biosphere program, it gets listed and becomes a part of the World Network of Biosphere Reserves. This World Network of Biosphere Reserves undertakes inter-country or inter-zonal kind of studies for the purpose of exchange of knowledge between two geopolitical areas or two geopolitical countries or more than two countries. So it becomes a base for knowledge sharing between countries. It also shares the best practices of one country with the other and tries to provide solutions to problems globally so that there can be a resolution of conflicts. This is the importance of the WNBR and how it functions. अब जो आपकी मैन एंड बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व है, वो मैन एंड बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व प्रोग्राम जो है वो कैसे काम करता है? मैन एंड बायोस्फीयर प्रोग्राम में जैसे ही कोई साइट लिस्ट हो जाती है, इट इज टू बी हैंडल्ड बाय नेशनल कमिटीज. ये नेशनल कमिटीज हर कंट्री में फॉर्म होती हैं एंड दे बिकम अ पार्ट ऑफ व्हाट इज कॉल्ड द इंटरनेशनल कोऑर्डिनेटिंग काउंसिल और द ICC. इट इज द इंटरनेशनल कोऑर्डिनेटिंग काउंसिल. ये इंटरनेशनल कोऑर्डिनेटिंग काउंसिल इज इलेक्टेड with 34 member states. ICC is at a time made up of 34 member states. These 34 member states elect a chairperson. और ये 34 member states कहाँ पे सिलेक्ट हो जाते हैं? ये 34 मेंबर स्टेट सिलेक्ट होते हैं आपकी जो यूनेस्को की जनरल कॉन्फ्रेंस पेरिस में जो होती है, वहां पे ये 34 मेंबर्स सिलेक्ट किए जाते हैं एंड दे कीप चेंजिंग. सो आउट ऑफ द 34 मेंबर स्टेट्स देयर इज वन चेयरपर्सन हु इज इलेक्टेड एंड 5 वाइस चेयरमैन. अब ये चेयरपर्सन और ये 5 वाइस चेयरमैन जो है आपके, ये पांचों जियोपॉलिटिकल एरिया जो मैंने आपको बताया, अफ्रीका, द अरब स्टेट्स, the Pacific, Asia and the Latin America and North America, वो सारे एरियाज को रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं ये 5 geopolitical states. These then take decisions on matters of which of the biosphere reserves are going to be included in the list. One is that. Two, the knowledge sharing base. और जो आपके WBNR है जहाँ पे कि सारी रिसर्च और एनालिसिस की जाती है उसको भी ये कंट्रोल करते हैं. Now the most important function of all of this, of the chairperson and the 5 vice chairperson, is to see where the fund of UNESCO or the fund for biosphere reserves is going to be allocated and how it is going to be used. I want to tell you that most of these funds are being used to carry out research work in areas of biosphere reserves, and as a result of it, our knowledge about biosphere reserves has increased many-fold ever since the conceptualization of this program in 1970 और 1971, आप जो भी कहना चाहिए. अब इस समय इस हमारे पास बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व्स में और इस यूनेस्को के प्रोग्राम में we have a total of 195 members. We have a total of 195 members in the MAB program. And there are 9 associate countries. They together come from 158. तो ये आपके 195 मेंबर्स रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं 158 कंट्रीज को प्लस 9 एसोसिएट कंट्रीज को. दैट इज द ब्रेकअप. डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज. There are 195 members in the Managed Biosphere Program of UNESCO, which is coming from 158 countries plus 9 associate countries. This is the breakup of the Man and Biosphere Bureau, which controls the working of the biosphere reserves. अब आपको बताना है कि which is the biggest biosphere reserve area of the world. जैसे हमारे पास Rann of Kutch है, which is the biggest biosphere reserve. वैसे ही for the world, the biggest and the largest biosphere reserve is being called the I'll write it for you because मैं इसको pronounce करूँगी तो उसको आपको समझने में थोड़ी सी प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी. It's called the SASU and this is UE and they put a hyphen here so the T becomes silent, but it's written like this. It's called the SASU International Biosphere Reserve. The SASU International Biosphere Reserve was declared in 2016 at Lima in Peru at a meeting of the Man and Biosphere Reserve Program, where it was decided that this lake, which is considered to be, आपने ये लिख लिया तो मैं इसको रब कर रही हूँ, as you can see it again. It is called the Great Bear Lake. The Great Bear Lake is the 8th largest lake of the world, and here the SASU International Biosphere Program has come into existence in 2016, and the community which it represents is called the Dilain Gotain. Dilain Gotain community it represents, which lives in a village called Dilain. ये community जो है ये एक village में रहती है जिसका नाम है Dilain. And they feel कि by covering this entire area of northern Canada and making it and declaring it as a biosphere reserve, the UNESCO is actually honoring the indigenous people, bringing them as a focus of attention on the World Forum, and this will help to bring in ecotourism. They are heavily into fisheries, but they want to maintain the lake or the Great Bear Lake at its pristine quality. Over the years, the quality of water and the area around it has got disturbed, and so because of that they want to preserve it. और उनके अपने system है preservation which is entirely indigenous, and by bringing them on to the Man and Biosphere program, UNESCO is trying to tell that this 9.3 million hectare, this biosphere reserve, which is the largest in the world around the Great Bear Lake, is 9.3 million hectares, and the UNESCO is trying to say that it is going to honor indigenous people and help them to conserve environments over a period of time have got degraded due to human activity. अब आप Indian context में चले आइए. It's already 6:45 and there's a huge thing which I have to finish today, so you will have to bear with me if I rush through. This is the 18 biosphere reserves which are there in India. Now we come to the 12 UNESCO biosphere reserves. अब UNESCO biosphere reserves में आप देख लीजिए कि आपके पास 3 हैं in मध्य प्रदेश. So you have Panna, you have Pachmari, then and this Amarkantak is also a part of Madhya Pradesh. आपको ये दिख रहा है, ये गल्फ ऑफ मैनर है, ये ग्रेट निकोबार है. ऑफकोर्स यहाँ पे आपने रन ऑफ कच्छ देखा था. ओवर देयर इज नंदा देवी राइट एट द टॉप एंड यू हैव कंचनजंगा इन सिक्किम. नंदा देवी इज अ पार्ट ऑफ द नॉर्दर्न हिमालयस एंड इट इज द हाईएस्ट बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व दैट वी हैव एट प्रेजेंट. नंदा देवी के 2 पार्ट्स हैं इसमें, एक नंदा देवी नेशनल पार्क है और एक वैली ऑफ फ्लावर्स है. ये 3 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स को कवर करता है विच इज चमोली, पिथौरागढ़ एंड भागेश्वर. Bhageshwar is somewhere near Almora area. This Nanda Devi Reserve का जो Valley of Flowers का part है, ये has been declared as a World Heritage Site. It should be clarified to you here and right now that World Heritage Sites have got nothing to do with biosphere reserves. Just that the implementing agency, which is UNESCO, is common to both of them. जो वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज साइट में आता है उसमें बहुत से मैन मेड थिंग्स भी हैं. इट इज़ टू डील विद कल्चर, बट ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, आई थिंक आफ्टर 1992 और सो, यूनेस्को टुक अ डिसाइसिव डिसीजन कि जो नेचुरल अकरिंग फिनोमिनाज हैं जो कि कहीं वर्ल्ड में रिपीट होके दिखते नहीं, उसकी प्रेजर्वेशन भी वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज साइट में आनी चाहिए. एंड अंडर दैट प्रोग्राम Nanda Devi and the Valley of Flowers in Nanda Devi, which is entirely in the Chamoli district, और ऐसे ये biosphere reserve 3 district का हिस्सा है, which is a part of Uttarakhand, became a part of the World Heritage Site. इसमें जो नंदा देवी पार्क है, that is not a part of the World Heritage Site. यहाँ पे ज़्यादा करके vegetation change होती है with altitude. अब alpine आपको vegetation ऊपर मिलती है और नीचे आपको moist deciduous forests मिलते हैं. You have the black bear which is there, और एक और endangered species जिसको आप snow leopard कहते हैं, वो भी यहाँ पे मिलती है. Amongst the vegetation you have the rhododendron which stands out, and there is a blue sheep by the name of bheria which is also endemic to this area, जो आपको नंदा देवी में मिलता है, नंदा देवी नेशनल पार्क में मिलता है. Now Nanda Devi National Park is the core area, and then of course the buffer and the transition zone. I will give you the details of it. आपका जो Valley of Flowers है चमोली में, उसमें आपको बहुत सारे flowers मिलेंगे. So you have daisies, you have various kinds of orchids, and it is a part of the World Heritage Site. How a site comes under the World Heritage Site is again a long drawn process. अगर आप मार्गदर्शन के मेरे videos में जाएंगे तो I have taken 1 class on World Heritage Site. We will repeat it here at some later date, but not today. I cannot tell you the details of World Heritage Site today. Just know कि नंदा देवी का जो Valley of Flowers is a part of World Heritage Site, and then you come to Kanchenjunga. Kanchenjunga in Sikkim has been declared as a World Heritage Site, and there's a very good case study on Sikkim. In Kanchenjunga, they say कि एक Kanchenjunga is the 3rd highest peak in the world, एंड जो कंचनजंगा उसको आप एक वहाँ के लोग द लेप्चास हैं एंड द गोरखास आते हैं and they consider Mount Kanchenjunga as a deity. So they worship it as a god. And because of this worship of the mountain as a god has led to the preservation of this biosphere reserve. And they've gone into details of how organic farming in and around the transition zone has really helped the people of this area. They said कि बहुत सारा ecotourism हुआ, and because this area is very famous for a lot of trails and for a lot of hiking areas. It's very beautiful and a lot of people visit that area. There was a contamination of people who were entering into the in the eco-protected zone. And how have they managed that? They managed it by banning plastics in that area. 2, आप जो सामान लेके पार्क के अंदर घुसते हैं, अगर उससे कम सामान लेके आप बाहर निकलते हैं तो आपको एक पेनाल्टी लगती है. Then they have said that there are some 117 medicinal plants in the Lepcha community and another 124 with the Lima community. ये दोनों मेडिसिनल, इनके पास इतनी सारी मेडिसिनल प्लांट्स हैं जो कि वेरियस एलिमेंट्स को क्योर करती है. The idea here is that when you mention your answer, तो एक आपका कॉन्सेप्ट होगा कि बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व क्या होता है. कॉन्सेप्ट आपका क्लियर हो गया, आपको बहुत अच्छे से डिफाइन करके आपने लिख लिया. बट देन द सेकेंड पार्ट विल बी हाउ विल यू कंजर्व. व्हेन यू राइट द सेकेंड पार्ट ऑफ कंजर्वेशन, इफ यू पुट इन ऑल दीज केस स्टडीज, दे रियली हेल्प. You should have seen कि मैंने जितने आपको अभी तक पढ़ाए हैं चैप्टर्स, whether it is the national parks or the wildlife sanctuary or the wetlands, मैंने आपको पर्टिकुलर नेम के अलावा जनरल सारे नेम्स नहीं गिनाए. उसका रीज़न है the class is short, your attention span is short, and then you have to put in some hard work. Also, I posted on the Allahabad Vishwavidyalaya page a few days back, I think on the 16th of August, that 4 new sites have come under Ramsar Convention for India, taking the Ramsar site count to 46. I find that the viewership of that data is very few. I'm sad about it. I can take the horse to the river, but I can't make it drink. ऐसा कहते हैं कि आप घोड़े को पानी के पास ले जा सकते, but पानी आप उसको पिला नहीं सकते, पानी उसको खुद पीना है. I want to repeat it to you कि कॉन्सेप्ट्स तो बहुत सारे हैं एनवायरनमेंट में, पर एग्जाम में आपको सिर्फ वही आएगा जो आपका करंट चल रहा है. And if 4 areas, 2 in Haryana and 2 in Gujarat, have become a part of the Ramsar site, you should be knowing it. Because if you do not know, let me tell you that all your main questions now become a part of your prelim questions, and they are broken into subparts so that कि एक आपका जो मेन का क्वेश्चन होता है उसके 4 भाग करके प्रीलिम का क्वेश्चन बनाया जा रहा है. So if you are not prepared for your main paper, you will not be able to attempt your prelim paper. And prelims is entirely based on current affairs. So if some information is being given on your page, and I usually never mind, I always teach and go, I think it's important that sharing of information should be at level with which you are participating in my class. I'm very grateful all of you participating in big numbers, but जो पढ़ाई कराई जा रही है उसको भी आप थोड़ा सा ध्यान करेंगे तो ज़्यादा अच्छा होगा. So सिक्किम में जब ये केस स्टडी कराई गई है अंडर द MAB प्रोग्राम, तो 2 things have come out. One, that the local community is trying very hard to get into a pattern of sustainable development. और ये उसने कैसे किया है? एक, उसने अपनी नॉलेज बेस को शेयर किया है. सो उसके पास जो ओवर द इयर्स मेडिसिनल प्लांट्स की नॉलेज थी वो उसने एलिमेंट्स को क्योर करने के लिए जनरल पब्लिक से शेयर करी. एंड द सेकेंड पार्ट इज दैट इन टर्म्स ऑफ इको टूरिज्म it has tried to control the contamination of the environment, and all this has been possible according to the studies because Kanchenjunga is considered to be a deity by the local people. आपको एक और बताएं, there is a reserve called नीलगिरी. नीलगिरी यहाँ देख रहे हैं आप. नीलगिरी के 3 हिस्से हैं. नीलगिरी का सबसे बड़ा हिस्सा तमिलनाडु स्टेट का होता है, and then there is Kerala and Karnataka. Kerala has a smaller part and Karnataka has a medium share in it. आप अब कहीं भी देखेंगे तो आपको ब्रेकअप मिल जाएगा. द मेजर पार्ट इज फ्रॉम तमिलनाडु. इन नीलगिरी दे डिड अ स्टडी इन 2014 फॉर द पीरियड फ्रॉम 2008 टू 2014. एंड यहाँ पे इन्होंने क्या देखा है, थ्रू रिमोट सेंसिंग सैटेलाइट. एंड दिस स्टडी हैज बीन अंडरटेकन बाय इसरो. और इस स्टडी में इन्होंने बताया कि ओवर अ डेकेड जो फायर्स होते थे नीलगिरी फॉरेस्ट रिजर्व में वो बहुत ज़्यादा रिड्यूस हो गए. These are the effectiveness of man and biosphere program, which I am now discussing with you. तो अगर आपको बताया जाएगा कि आप बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व्स बताइए कि क्या है, मैन एंड बायोस्फीयर प्रोग्राम क्या है, वो कैसे इम्प्लीमेंट होता है, उसके क्या फ़ायदे हैं, तो फ़ायदा बताने में आपको ये सारी चीज़ें बतानी पड़ेंगी. और when you are going to look at it in detail each area, आपको ये समझ में आएगा कि कौन से एरियाज में कितने फॉरेस्ट होते हैं, क्या वेजिटेशन है. आई विल बी टेकिंग अप 2 or 3 of these reserves just to explain to you how you're going to write your answer, and the rest I expect you to do yourself because there's just not enough time. So here they found out that there was a raging fire in 2008 because of successive El Nino effects which led to the drying of the land. यहाँ पे इन्होंने 2 कारण पाए हैं फायर के थ्रू दिस रिमोट सेंसिंग एरिया. वन इज द प्रॉक्सिमिटी टू द रोड ऑफ द बफर जोन. तो जितना एरिया बफर जोन के पास होता है उसमें जल्दी से आग लगती है. और दूसरा इन्होंने ये कहा है कि जब भी कोई ड्राइनेस होती है, जनवरी में जो लीव्स गिरती हैं उसकी वजह से यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा क्वांटिटी में ड्राई डेसिडुअस फॉरेस्ट है. तो ड्राई डेसिडुअस फॉरेस्ट की अगर लीव्स को क्लियर नहीं कर दिया जाता तो इन अप्रैल व्हेन द टेम्परेचर्स राइज there are raging fires in the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. So as a result of the biosphere program, the fires in Nilgiri have been contained. The study also says कि अगर ये जो कार्बन प्रिंट्स है अगर हम इनको कंट्रोल करके ज़्यादा रखेंगे तो कुछ दिन बाद फायर तो कम होगा बट बहुत बड़ा फायर होगा. So there has to be an outlet for these carbon sinks which are taking place. इसका क्या मतलब है? इसका मतलब है कि जो आपके कोर एरियाज है उसमें से आपको थोड़ा थोड़ा डिफ्लेक्शन करते रहना पड़ेगा वेजिटेशन का, so that a fire doesn't get started very soon. This is now again an effect of your biosphere reserve program which I wanted to share with you. Okay, now we are coming to, like I told you, the Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. मैं आपको 2 पढ़ाने की कोशिश करूँगी so that after that we'll go into the sacred groves and there is something called the biodiversity heritage sites also. अब ये biodiversity heritage sites इंडिया से रिलेटेड है, इस वजह से आपको बताना ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. We will take very little time, but उसमें जो words आते हैं वो थोड़े टफ हैं, तो you have to please focus your attention. So first I told you about Nanda Devi कि नंदा देवी में कौन कौन से एरियाज आते हैं. The area in total is आप देख लीजिए, आप इस पे फोकस मत करिए, प्लीज फोकस देयर ऑन द नंदा देवी बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व. इट सेज द वैली ऑफ फ्लावर्स व्हिच इज अ नेशनल पार्क एंड इट टॉक्स अबाउट एट राइट एट द टॉप. ये जो ग्रीन एरिया देख रहे हैं वो नंदा देवी नेशनल पार्क है. सो देयर आर 2 नेशनल पार्क्स. Then there is the entire watershed area of the Alaknanda river. Also, they have said that Alaknanda and the ऋषि गंगा. अब आप याद करिए जब मैंने आपको क्लाउड बर्स्ट पढ़ाया था तो हमने आपसे कहा था कि वहाँ पर एक ऋषि गंगा के ऊपर हाइड्रो इलेक्ट्रिक प्रोजेक्ट बन रहा था जिसको कि लोकल एरिया पीपल हैड सेड कि इट शुड नॉट बी डन, बट इवन देन दैट डैम वाज कंस्ट्रक्टेड. सो दिस now you understand this that we are on one side say कि एक बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व एक प्रोटेक्टेड एरिया है जहाँ पे कि हम मिनिमल एक्टिविटी करेंगे या कंट्रोल्ड एक्टिविटी करेंगे, but somehow it happens that when development is in progress we tend to ignore the ecosystem. Then as a result of that cloud burst and the glacier fall. अब ये नंदा देवी बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व has about 30 glaciers and it is very rich in endemic species. जब ये glaciers melt हो गए because of climate change, they came down and there was a flooding in this area of the reserve. This area of the reserve. and that is why you had those flash floods. The glacier could not melt completely. It got cut in an area while coming down the slope, और वहाँ पे उसने एक छोटी सी लेक बना ली और बहुत सारी क्लाउड बर्स्ट एक हो गया, क्लाउड बर्स्ट के साथ साथ वो भी नीचे हो गया, नीचे आ गया, and so then there were flash floods in the area and we lost about some 108 people on record. Now if we go into what is the core, और मैं ये आपको 2 सेंचुरीज के लिए बताती हूँ, rest I expect you to do yourself. एक कोर, एक बफर एरिया इनका और एक इनका ट्रांजिशन. तो जो आपका कोर एरिया है ये 712 है, ये आपका 5148 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर, दे आर ऑल स्क्वायर किलोमीटर, एंड जो आपका ट्रांजिशन जोन है वो 546 है. सो लाइक आई टोल्ड यू, this becomes your area of human activity, and controlling this area you are then able to control the core and the transit. तो अगर आपको core को preserve करना है या protect करना है और ट्रांजिट जोन से उसकी इंटरैक्शन को बैलेंस में रखना है, then you have to control the activities that you undertake in the buffer zone. That is the central idea of all biosphere reserve program. So you please write this in your answer, that the buffer zone is the biggest area, it is the transition or it is the spatial connectivity between the core and the transit zone, and hence its importance becomes the most, and area of activity has to be controlled in this area. To tell you again that the Supreme Court under its garb of judicial activism has directed national parks and wildlife sanctuaries to declare buffer zones, but 11 sanctuaries are there, including the Panna Reserve. We'll talk about it a little later. Including the Panna Reserve, which had still date not declared a buffer zone. इसके लिए ये क्यों कारण क्या है? इसका कारण है, कहते हैं कि local people इस बात को resist करते हैं, which is not the truth. The truth is that in Panna Reserve, you have a lot of mining activities going on, and the government is hand in glove in promoting these mining activities, because of which the declaration of the buffer zone notification is not coming through. This is the other side of conservation, the part which we are dealing with the government. So ये तो हम जो theory part है वो तो आप जान जाते हैं, जो practical part है उसको आपको थोड़ा सा बताना पड़ता है from newspaper. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so I told you Alaknanda and its tributaries drain this area, and the Rishi Ganga and the Dhwali Ganga all are parts of it. इसकी most of the vegetation is dry deciduous, but आप जैसे elevation के साथ जाते हैं, the altitude increases, the vegetation changes. So at the top you have the green alpine vegetation, and that explains why the Nanda Devi National Park right at the top is showing green. Okay, now we come to, oh no, this is gone. Okay. We come to the Panna National Reserve. So जब मैं आपको Panna National Reserve के बारे में बताऊंगी, the Panna National Reserve is here, and इसके पास आपके, इसके through drain हो रही है the Cane River. Cane River, and you have the Cane Ghadial Wildlife Sanctuary, which is also a part of the Panna Reserve. Then you have the Gangau Sanctuary. The Gangau Sanctuary is completely a part of the Panna Tiger Reserve. Panna Tiger Reserve has a core area of 792. It has a core area of 792. अब आप इसका देखिए buffer zone ये कह रहा है 98,702, which is just not possible. तो इन्होंने तो buffer zone को create ही नहीं किया हुआ है, तो that's why they are saying this. उसके बाद ये कहते हैं कि इसमें कौन कौन सी एरिया आ रही है? Gangau, this part. The Gangau Sanctuary is a part of it, and the North Panna Forest Reserve. North Panna Forest Reserve is also a part of it. इसकी जो है, if you see, this is a part of Madhya Pradesh, so the entire area comes under the Deccan Plateau. It has places of alluvial soil, some places red soil, and some places black cotton soil. But the vegetation is, because it has a monsoon type of climate, the vegetation is rich, deciduous evergreen forest and patches, and then it becomes a kind of dry deciduous forest. But because of the Cane River, which drains through the entire reserve, you have beautiful gorges and so beautiful waterfalls in this area. आपके पन्ना टाइगर रिजर्व में and also the other tiger reserve, which is your Pachmani Biosphere Reserve, ये भी आपकी इसी मध्य प्रदेश का पार्ट है. और इसमें आपके you have these areas which are the Satpura range which is coming here, and you have the Vindhyas and the Aravalis. तो इससे एक natural boundary इस area की बन जाती है. Again because of a lot of valleys and the Deccan Plateau, यहाँ पर red soil है जो easily break up कर जाता है. तो you have beautiful waterfalls in this area, draining this area. Having told you this, I want to now come on the, although I had done अब we want to now we are going to come to the biodiversity heritage sites. There are certain areas which do not come under, there are certain sites which do not come under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, but the state government, and this is because it's India, our country, the state government feels that these areas need to be protected. So there is something called the Biological Diversity Act of 2002. The Biological Diversity Act of 2002. इसमें इन्होंने क्या किया है कि जो लोकल एरियाज होते हैं जहाँ की इकोसिस्टम बहुत फ्रेजाइल है या सर्टन स्पीशीज आर ऑन द वर्ज ऑफ एक्सटिंक्शन, उन एरियाज को दे ट्राई टू मेक इट इनटू अ बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग, एंड इट कम्स अंडर दिस बायोलॉजिकल डाइवर्सिटी एक्ट ऑफ 2002. One is that the ecosystem is unique, it is fragile, it needs to be controlled, it is under a threat of extinction, and the group of people who are surrounding it need special protection of the government. अब इसके under there are 9 sites which are there in India. मैं आपको उनका नाम बताती जाऊंगी और थोड़ा थोड़ा डिटेल, so that you are aware that something like this exists, that there is something called the Biodiversity Heritage Sites for India. So the first is called the Nallu Tamarind Grove. I repeat, the Nallu Tamarind Grove. ये नल्लू टैमरिन ग्रोव को कहा जा रहा है, ये बैंगलोर में एग्जिस्ट करता है, and this grove is supposed to be a relic of the Chola dynasty. It is considered to be a relic of the Chola dynasty. I repeat, it is called the Nallu Tamarind Grove. This is your first site. The second site is called the Hog Raken. Hog Raken. अब Hog Raken आपका कहाँ पर है? It is in a place called Chikmagalur. It's in a place called Chikmagalur. और Hog Raken में क्या है? यहाँ की जो यूनिक शोला वेजिटेशन है, it's called शोला वेजिटेशन. आप पता कीजिए कि शोला वेजिटेशन क्या होती है, and let me know. It's a kind of a grassland, kind of a scrub vegetation called the शोला vegetation. ये यहाँ की यूनिक शोला वेजिटेशन है और ग्रासलैंड है. ये इम्पोर्टेंट एरिया इसलिए है बिकॉज इट एक्ट्स एज अ कॉरिडोर बिटवीन द कुंडरमुख एंड द भद्रा वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी. बिटवीन द कुंद्रामुख and Bhadra Wildlife Sanctuary, WLS. Okay, so this is a part of the Hog Raken. ये चिकमंगलूर में एग्जिस्ट करता है. यहाँ पे शोला वेजिटेशन प्रिजर्व होती है और उससे ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है कि ये कॉरिडोर है कुंद्रामुख और भद्र वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी के बीच में. एंड इफ यू रिमेंबर आई हैड टोल्ड यू दैट दिस एक्ट्स एज अ कॉरिडोर फॉर द एलिफेंट्स एंड दैट इज व्हाई इट बिकम्स इम्पोर्टेंट. Third is your University of Agriculture Science, the JKVK campus in Bangalore. It is considered to be very green and so preserved under this Biodiversity Act Heritage Site of India. Then there is something called the Ambara Gudda, which lies between Shimoga and the Sheravati Wildlife Sanctuary. यहाँ भी शोला वेजिटेशन है और प्रिमिटिव ग्रासलैंड है जिसको प्रोटेक्ट किया जा रहा है. अब आपका जो अंबारा गुड्डा है, अंबारा गुड्डा, योर अंबारा गुड्डा कम्स अंडर द अंबारा गुड्डा कम्स इन कर्नाटका. और ये शेरावती, ये शेरावती और सोमेश्वर वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी के बीच का एरिया है एंड इट्स एन इम्पॉर्टेंट ग्रासलैंड एरिया which needs to be protected. Then we come to the glory of Alpine. Glory of Alpine. I thought I should skip this part, but suppose it comes as a question because it is the Biodiversity Heritage Site of India, it can come. तो आपके पास एक आइडिया होना चाहिए. So this glory of Alpine is in the Gadchiroli area, Gadchiroli area of Maharashtra. It's in the Gadchiroli area of Maharashtra. ये एक रिजर्व फॉरेस्ट है और बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है बिकॉज इट हैज़ अ वेरी thick ethnic population which needs to be protected. Then there are two areas in Darjeeling. दोनों को हम आपको बता देते हैं, टोंगू एंड धोत्रे. टोंगू एंड धोत्रे दोनों वेस्ट बंगाल में है and they are known for their medicinal plants. They are part of the forest division. So काफी सारी जो आपकी बायोलॉजी बायोडाइवर्सिटी साइट्स हेरिटेज साइट्स हैं इंडिया की, ये फॉरेस्ट डिविजन्स ने आइडेंटिफाई कर ली है और वो उसको अब यहाँ पे प्रिजर्व कर रहे हैं. देन देयर इज अ डायलोंग विलेज, अ डायलोंग विलेज which is in Manipur and it's a part of the area called the Tamenglong. It's a part of an area called Tamenglong and this is in Manipur. This happens to be your 8th site. अब आपकी जो 9th site है वो है अमीनपुर लेक. अमीनपुर लेक. अमीनपुर लेक को किसने बनाया? इब्राहिम कुतुब शाह ने. Ibrahim Qutub Shah was the ruler from 1550 to 1580 of the Golconda dynasty, and this Ameerpur Lake, something which is called the sacred groves. You have tribes like the Garo and the Khasi in Meghalaya, and then you have the Gonds in and around Madhya Pradesh, which are all tribal populations like the Lepchas in the area of Sikkim, who worship nature as a deity. अब ये जो deity को worship करते हैं is in the form of sacred groves. Sacred groves are areas of vegetation or very small areas of forest which is unconsidered to be untouchable by the local people. वो वहाँ पर किसी की एंट्री अलाउ नहीं करते. ये सेक्रेड ग्रोव्स कहाँ कहाँ मिलते हैं? ये सेक्रेड ग्रोव्स इन एंड अराउंड टेम्पल मिलते हैं, इन एंड अराउंड फॉरेस्ट एरिया मिलते हैं, and some of them exist in cremation grounds. So when they are part of the forest, usually there is a pond or a lake or a stream nearby. तो ये जो sacred groves हैं, they also act as small biosphere reserves and are protected. अगर आप ध्यान से इंडिया में पता करने की कोशिश करेंगे तो they are about 1 lakh to 1,50,000 such sacred groves all over India, and they are known by different names in different regions. They are sacred to the indigenous people, like for example, those who are a part of the Kanchenjunga think that the Kanchenjunga is a deity and therefore they want to worship that deity. Similarly, they had said कि उनके पास एक river थी वहाँ पर जिसके ऊपर एक hydro project बनने वाला था, but they refused to let that become a hydro project because they worshipped that river. अब उस river को वो एक religious status देते हैं. Over a period of time, the sacred groves have deteriorated in India. One, because of urbanization. Two, because people believe as a result of education that it is pure superstition. Those who are studying sociology as a main part of their paper or anthropology can correlate the sacred groves with totemism. एक chapter है totemism का जिसमें वो बताते हैं कि ट्राइबल पॉपुलेशन किस किस चीज़ों को सेक्रेड समझती है. तो जो घेरो खासी ट्राइब है उसकी जो सेक्रेड ग्रोव है वहाँ से आप एक पत्ते भी नहीं हटा सकते. सो इट इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट एरिया ऑफ कंजर्वेशन ओवर सेंचुरीज अगर आप देखना चाहें तो. नॉट ओनली दैट, सम ट्राइबल्स लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल द गोंड, they don't allow a tree to be broken. The Gero Khasi people will not let you touch a fallen leaf. तो पेड़ काटने की बात तो बहुत दूर हो गई. और यहाँ पे बैम्बू ग्रोव्स को बहुत वर्शिप किया जाता है. The Gold people, they pick up the broken leaves and the broken branches, but they never cut trees. So these areas also become very, very important as an ecosystem which exists for the preservation of endemic species. Now these are known by different names in different parts of India. Maximum आपको sacred groves हिमाचल प्रदेश में मिलते हैं. एरिया बहुत छोटा छोटा है. They are very common in Kerala and Karnataka. They are also very common in Maharashtra. The local name which is used for them is that in West Bengal they are called as Gara Mithan. What are they called? They are called the Gara Mithan. और ये क्या कहलाते हैं? और the Hari Mithan. Gara Mithan या Hari Mithan. In Uttarakhand they are known as Devbhumi. उत्तराखंड में they are known as देवभूमि और they are called Bagyal. Bagyal. In Tamil Nadu they are called Swami or they are called Shola. They are also called Koil Kadu. Koil Kadu. Kadu. This should be a D. They are called Koil Kadu. In Rajasthan, they are called Orans. In Rajasthan, they are called Orans and Cankris. They are called Orans and Cankris. In Maharashtra, they are called Devraj. In Jharkhand, they are called Sarana. In Arunachal Pradesh, they are called the Gumpa. I think this is about enough that we can do with biosphere reserves. I call it a day. There has been a glitch in the video which was telecasted to you. Other parts you can ignore. Please just concentrate on the knowledge which has been dispersed to you. I wanted to do more of the biosphere reserves. If you want, put in your comments in the section. And if I post something on the site, take the trouble of reading it because that is what will actually help you. अब हम इसके बाद conservation के और दूसरे पार्ट पे चलेंगे. उसमें क्या आएगा आपका? अब I want to do forest with you. I wanted to do sustainable development, but आप लोग ने पहले बोला कि you wanted to do a class of biodiversity. अब if we really want to do a class of biodiversity, तब मुझे हर एक ecosystem, whether it is mangrove, whether it is coastal, whether it is the mountains or the plateau, मुझे हर एक area का conservation आपसे discuss करना पड़ेगा. It won't take much time, but then it will take a few classes. So drop your comments in your box. If you found the class to be understanding enough to appreciate conservation in the future, this brings us to an end of Man and Biosphere Reserves. And I repeat that Man and Biosphere Reserve is just an extension of the national parks, the wildlife sanctuary, and when we consider it in totality with human settlement, it becomes a biosphere reserve. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, please do ask. Thank you.